You've lived before, and you will live again. Before you were born, your soul made a choice. It chose this life, this body, this exact moment in history. It chose the joys, the struggles, and even the pain. But the moment you took your first breath, you forgot. They made sure of it. Society conditioned you to believe that life starts at birth and ends at death, that everything is random, that you are nothing more than flesh and bone, here by accident. But deep down, you've always known that wasn't true. That feeling you get when you meet someone for the first time, but it feels like you've known them forever. That wasn't chance. That dream you had that felt too real to be just your imagination, that was a memory. The déjà vu, the unexplainable fears, the strong intuition about places you've never been, these are all echoes of something greater. Your soul has walked this path before, and in this video, you're going to remember why. From the moment you were born, you were placed into a world designed to make you forget. The walls of a nursery became the first boundaries of your existence. Language was given to you, not to expand your mind, but to limit it. You were taught a name, a nationality, a belief system. Labels meant to anchor you to an identity that was never truly yours. You were told what was real and what wasn't, what was possible and what was foolish to even question. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Everything around you is an illusion. The material world, the one you wake up in every morning, is nothing more than a fleeting stage, a temporary projection of energy shaped into form. Yet most people mistake it for the ultimate reality. They attach themselves to it, desperate to accumulate wealth, status, and recognition, believing that these things define them. They chase pleasure, avoid pain, and measure success by how much they own, never realizing that none of it follows them beyond the grave. This illusion is reinforced every single day. You're told that happiness comes from achievement, from external validation, from fitting into a system that only values you when you produce, consume, and obey. You're given a script, a path to follow. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, start a family, retire, and then fade away. The cycle continues, unquestioned, generation after generation, because people have been conditioned to believe that this is all there is. But that's the greatest lie of all. What if I told you that before you were even born, you knew all of this? That your soul, unburdened by a name, a gender, or a body, willingly entered this world knowing it would be trapped in this illusion. It wasn't forced, it agreed. But why? Why would a soul choose to forget itself, to live a life full of struggle and uncertainty? Because Earth is a school, and you came here to learn. Life in the physical realm is a test, an experience designed to shape your soul through hardship, love, loss, and growth. Every challenge you face, every moment of suffering, every lesson repeated is part of something far bigger than you can imagine. But here's the catch. None of it is meant to be permanent. This world is a passing phase, a training ground before you move on. And yet, most people never wake up to this truth. They remain trapped, lost in the illusion, tangled in desires that keep them reincarnating over and over again. The more attached you become to relationships, to possessions, to status, the harder it is to break free. The system feeds off this attachment, reinforcing the idea that you are just your body, that life is a one-time event, that nothing exists beyond what you can see and touch. But those who know the truth, those who remember, understand that this is only the beginning. Some truths are too deep for YouTube. That's why we created Insights Academy, a free newsletter where we uncover the most hidden esoteric knowledge. For a limited time, you'll also receive a free copy of the Kybalion, a powerful book on Hermetic wisdom. Get it now at the link in the description. You've probably felt it before. That quiet whisper in the back of your mind telling you that something about this world doesn't feel right. Maybe you've sensed that time isn't as linear as it seems. Maybe you've had dreams so vivid they felt more real than waking life. Or maybe, just maybe, you've started to remember glimpses of something you were never supposed to recall. That's not your imagination. It's your soul trying to wake you up. Death is not the end. It never was. You have died before. You have left this world, shed your body like an old piece of clothing, and stepped into the unknown. But the moment you crossed over, it all made sense again. The illusions of time, identity, and separation faded, and you remembered what you had forgotten. You were never just this single life. You were never just this name, this story, this fleeting experience. You were something far greater. The moment of death is not darkness, but clarity. Your entire life flashes before you, not as a series of disconnected memories, but as a single tapestry, woven together with meaning. But here's the part they don't tell you. You don't just see your past. You feel it. Every action, every thought, every word you ever spoke ripples back to you. If you caused pain, you feel that pain as if it were your own. If you spread love, you become that love. This is the life review, the first step in the transition from this world to the next. For some, this moment is liberating. They see their life with new eyes, understand the lessons they came here to learn, and are ready to move forward. But for others, this moment is terrifying. The weight of regret, the things left unsaid, the attachments still gripping their soul. It all becomes overwhelming. And when a soul is not ready to let go, it lingers. It clings to the familiar, afraid to move on, stuck between two worlds. This is why some spirits remain bound to the physical plane, unable to release themselves from the very illusion they once lived in. But those who do move forward are guided into the next phase of existence. They enter a space beyond time, where the soul is free from the limitations of the body. Some experience this as a tunnel of light, others as a vast, endless horizon. The form it takes doesn't matter. What matters is that this is where the real journey begins. Once the transition is complete, the soul is pulled into a higher state of consciousness. Here, there is no suffering, no fear, no limitation, only understanding. Some souls immediately feel a sense of homecoming, as if they are returning to a place more familiar than Earth ever was. Others take time to adjust, still carrying echoes of their past life with them. But no soul is lost. Every soul is guided, watched over, and led to exactly where they need to be. And then, the great question is asked, what's next? For many, the answer is clear. They see the unfinished lessons, the karma still unresolved, the growth that has yet to be achieved. And so, they choose to return. They choose another life, another body, another set of experiences, knowing that when they are reborn, they will forget all of this once again. It is a cycle, endless until the soul awakens and breaks free. But what happens if a soul refuses? What if it does not want to return? What if it resists the pull of reincarnation? This is where the deeper journey begins. Some souls ascend higher, beyond the pull of rebirth, into realms of existence where they no longer need a body. They continue to evolve, moving towards something even greater, something beyond human understanding. But for most, the cycle continues. Life, death, rebirth, again and again, until the lesson is learned, until the illusion is shattered, until the soul finally realizes that it was never truly trapped to begin with. And the question remains, is this your last lifetime, or are you still bound to the cycle? Not every soul moves forward the same way after death. Some rise effortlessly, shedding the weight of their past lives like a snake shedding its skin. Others struggle, carrying attachments, regrets, and desires that hold them back. The transition is not automatic, and it is not the same for everyone. What happens next depends on the choices you made in life and the energy you carry with you. For those who lived with heavy burdens, anger, resentment, greed, or deep unresolved wounds, there is a state of purification. Some call it purgatory, but it is not a place of punishment. It is not fire and brimstone. It is not torture. It is simply the process of release, where the soul confronts the weight of what it has yet to let go. Here, the echoes of past choices replay in vivid clarity, not as a punishment, but as a final lesson. The soul is not judged by an external force. It is judged by itself, by its own awareness. by its own realization of what it became. For some, this process is brief. They understand, they accept, and they move on. For others, it can feel like eternity. Souls who resist, who refuse to face their own reflection, linger in this state, trapped not by an external force, but by their own unwillingness to surrender what no longer serves them. This is why some spirits remain tethered to the material world, ghosts of their former selves, still attached to a life that has already ended. But those who do release, who find peace, ascend beyond this phase. They enter what some traditions call the second heaven, a realm of pure thought, unshackled from physical form. Here the soul exists in a state of expansion, no longer bound by the limitations of the body. Time does not exist. Space is fluid. There is only awareness, and with it, the ability to see life from a higher perspective. In this state, souls reflect on the lives they've lived, the choices they've made, and the paths still left to walk. Here, there is no suffering, only understanding. They see the interconnected web of existence, the way every action ripples outward, touching countless lives in ways they never realized. They see how the choices they made in one life affected the next, and how the patterns they repeat are not accidents, but lessons waiting to be understood. But there is still another level, a higher state before the cycle begins again. This is the third heaven, the final phase before reincarnation. This is where souls rest, absorb, and prepare. It is where the deepest cosmic truths are revealed, where the soul fully understands the nature of existence before choosing to return. It is a place of pure knowing, where all the veils are lifted and the soul is granted a temporary glimpse beyond the illusion of the material world. Yet, despite all this understanding, most souls still choose to come back, not because they have to, but because they are not finished. They are drawn back into the physical world, into new bodies, into new experiences, because there is still something they must learn, something they must balance, something they must complete. And so, the cycle continues. But what happens when a soul decides it has had enough? What happens when a soul no longer wants to return? That too is a choice, but one that only the rarest of souls make. Most souls don't escape. They don't ascend beyond the cycle. They come back, lifetime after lifetime, caught in the same patterns, repeating the same lessons, chasing the same illusions. And the reason is simple: attachment. Attachment is the invisible chain that binds souls to the physical world. It is the desire for more, the hunger for wealth, for power, for recognition. It is the need to control, to possess, to define oneself by temporary things. And as long as a soul is attached to the material world, it cannot leave it. It will keep coming back, pulled like a magnet, locked in the endless loop of birth, death, and rebirth. But attachment isn't just about material things. It's about emotions, about unresolved karma, about identities that a soul refuses to let go of. A person who dies still consumed by anger, resentment, or fear will carry that energy into the next life. A person who lived for status and validation will return to chase it all over again. A person who clings to their identity, race, religion, nationality, will be reborn into the same circumstances, trapped in the same illusions, because they have not yet learned to see beyond them. This is why the cycle is so hard to break. The soul is not forced to return. It chooses to, again and again, because it has not yet realized that none of this is real. The suffering, the struggle, the endless chasing, it is all part of the illusion, an elaborate game the soul plays with itself. And until it wakes up, it will keep playing. But the greatest trick of all is forgetting. Each time a soul is reborn, it forgets everything. It forgets the lessons of past lives. It forgets the mistakes it has already made. It forgets the moments of realization it had before. And so it starts over, thinking this is the first time, believing it is living a unique life when, in reality, It has walked this path countless times before. Some souls begin to sense this. They experience déjà vu, unexplainable fears, or deep, irrational attractions to certain people and places. They feel an underlying restlessness, as if they are searching for something they cannot quite remember, and that's because they are. The past is not truly gone. It lingers beneath the surface, waiting to be remembered. But for most, the distractions of the world are too strong. The noise of modern life, the pursuit of success, the lure of entertainment, the endless stream of information keeps them occupied, keeps them asleep. They chase love, status, pleasure, never realizing they are running in circles, never stopping to ask, have I done this before? Breaking free from the cycle is not about escaping life. It's about transcending it. It's about realizing that none of this is permanent, that everything you think you own, everything you think defines you, will one day disappear. The soul that clings will return. The soul that lets go will ascend. And so the question is not whether you will reincarnate, but whether you will wake up before you do. Will you see the illusion for what it is? Or will you come back again, repeating the same patterns, trapped in the same cycle, until one day, maybe lifetimes from now, you finally decide to let go? Most souls don't escape, not because they can't, but because they don't even realize they're trapped. They go from lifetime to lifetime, chasing success, chasing love, chasing power, believing that fulfillment is just out of reach, that one more achievement, one more experience, one more lifetime will finally bring them peace. But it never does, because peace, real peace, is not something you find in the world. It's something you find when you step beyond it. Escaping the reincarnation cycle isn't about rejecting life. It's about transcending it. It's about seeing the illusion for what it is and refusing to be bound by it anymore. It's about realizing that everything you have ever chased, everything you have ever suffered for, everything you thought mattered, was all temporary, and that nothing temporary can ever bring you lasting freedom. So how do you break free? It starts with awareness. The moment you recognize the illusion, it begins to lose its grip on you. The things that once seemed so important, money, reputation, social approval, begin to fade. You stop reacting the way you used to. You stop chasing the things you once believed would complete you. And instead, you start turning inward. Mindfulness is the first key. Not the watered-down version that's sold to you as a tool for productivity, but real mindfulness. The kind that forces you to confront yourself. The kind that makes you question everything you've ever believed. When you observe your thoughts without attachment, you begin to see how much of your identity is just programming. You begin to see how many of your desires aren't truly yours, but were placed there by the world around you. And when you can see that, you can start to let them go. Meditation is the second key, not as an escape, but as a way of remembering. When you sit in silence long enough, the layers start to peel away. The distractions, the noise, the false identities, they all dissolve until all that's left is awareness itself. And in that space, something happens. You begin to remember, not as a thought, not as an idea, but as a deep, unshakable knowing. You remember that you were never just this body, never just this name, never just this single, fleeting life. You were something far greater. The third key is detachment. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean you stop feeling, stop loving, stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you experience life fully, but you don't grasp at it. You enjoy, but you don't attach. You love, but you don't try to possess. You live, but you don't fear death, because you understand that nothing here is truly yours. Nothing here is permanent, and that's the point. There is one final key, the most difficult of all. It is the realization that you are not the one who escapes the cycle. The very idea of you is part of the illusion. The person you think you are, the identity, the ego, the self, was never meant to last. It was always temporary, always just a role being played by something much greater. And when you stop identifying with the role, When you stop believing you are just this character in a temporary dream, something shifts. The illusion collapses, the cycle breaks, and what remains is something beyond words. Few souls ever reach this point. Most will continue, lifetime after lifetime, pulled by desires, by unfinished lessons, by the weight of their own attachments. But a rare few will see through it. A rare few will step beyond. The choice is always there. The cycle continues for as long as you choose it. But the moment you stop playing the game, the moment you stop believing in the illusion, the moment you let go, you are free. Every lifetime is a choice, but most don't realize they're making one. They are born, they follow the path laid before them, they live as they are told to live, and then they die, only to do it all over again. Not because they are forced to, but because they never stopped long enough to see that they had a choice at all. Right now, you are at that crossroads. You are hearing this for a reason. Maybe this is the first time you've considered the possibility that life is something greater than what you've been told. Maybe something inside you has always known but never had the words to explain it. Or maybe deep down, you've felt this truth all along. You've just been waiting for the moment when it would finally make sense. That moment is now. Most souls will remain asleep. They will cling to their identities, their desires, their attachments, believing that what they chase in this life will bring them the fulfillment they seek. But it never does. The job, the money, the relationships, the achievements, none of it lasts. It is all borrowed, and one day it will all be returned. And when that day comes, they will find themselves back where they started, facing the same choice once again. But a few, just a few, will wake up. To awaken is to see through the illusion, to recognize that everything you experience is just a passing moment in the infinite stream of existence, to understand that you are not your name, your body, your story. You are the awareness behind it all, and that awareness has been here before. It has watched you play countless roles, in countless lifetimes, in countless worlds, and it will continue to watch until the day you decide that you no longer need the experience of being human. That choice is yours. But waking up isn't easy. The world is full of distractions, designed to pull you back into the illusion. Society will tell you what matters. The people around you will reinforce what is normal. The systems in place will keep you busy, chasing things that will never fill the void inside you. And if you let it, the noise of the world will drown out the quiet knowing that has been whispering to you all along. The rarest souls reject the noise. They stop running, they stop chasing, they stop playing the game, and instead they turn inward. They question everything. They let go of what they once believed was important. They unlearn what they were taught, and in doing so, they begin to remember. Because the truth has always been there, beneath the surface, waiting for you to notice. And so the question is this: will this be just another moment, another idea that fades as you return to your daily life? Or will this be the moment you choose something different? The moment you take your first step toward waking up? Because one path leads you back into the cycle, back into another lifetime, back into forgetting. And the other leads beyond the illusion, beyond the limitations of time and form, beyond everything you thought was real. Few souls will choose the second path. But if you're still here, still listening, still feeling that quiet pull inside of you, maybe, just maybe, you are one of them. If you've made it this far, it's not by accident. Nothing in this universe is random. The fact that you are hearing this now, in this exact moment, is proof that your soul is ready for this knowledge. Maybe this is the first time you've questioned the nature of your existence, or maybe you've been searching for answers your entire life. Either way, you've reached a turning point, the moment where you decide what comes next. Most people will forget. They will wake up tomorrow and go back to their routines, drowning in distractions, letting this truth slip through their fingers like sand. They will keep running, keep chasing, keep repeating the cycle, believing that the next achievement, the next relationship, The next lifetime will finally make them whole. But it never will. Because wholeness is not something you find. It is something you remember. The few who wake up see the world differently. They stop reacting. They stop playing the game. They stop allowing the illusion to dictate their reality. Instead, they step back and watch. Watch how people attach themselves to things that will never last. Watch how they distract themselves to avoid facing their own emptiness. Watch how they chase things they don't even truly want. And as they watch, something changes. The illusion loses its grip. The world that once seemed so solid, so absolute, begins to crack. And through those cracks, the truth begins to shine through. The path to liberation is not about rejecting life. It's about no longer being controlled by it. It's about moving through this world without attachment, without fear, without being pulled into the same cycles that have trapped you for lifetimes. It's about remembering who you are beyond this body, beyond this name, beyond this moment in time. But waking up is just the beginning. True freedom comes when you align your life with this truth, when you stop looking outward for meaning and start looking inward, when you stop chasing and start being, when you start making choices not based on fear or desire, but from the deep knowing that you are something far greater than you've been led to believe. This knowledge is powerful, but it's not something that can be fully shared here. There are some truths that go beyond what can be said openly. That's why we created Insights Academy, a free newsletter where we go even deeper into the knowledge that has been hidden, suppressed, and forgotten. If you're ready for more, you'll find it there. And for a limited time, you'll also receive a free copy of The Kabbalion, a book that holds some of the most profound teachings on reality and consciousness. The link is in the description. Don't miss this chance. Because the truth is, most will continue to sleep. Most will choose the comfort of familiarity over the discomfort of awakening. Most will hear this message and walk away unchanged. But not everyone. A few will feel it. A few will recognize it. A few will remember. And if you are one of them, you already know what comes next. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understood it."